no substitute for skill. Every leadership endeavor or vision will always demand skill. I love the way David said it. It's said in Psalm 78 and verse 72. He said, he led them with the integrity of his heart and by the skillfulness of his hands. Skillfulness of his hands. Psalm 78 and verse 72. Skillfulness, skillfulness, skillfulness. By the skillfulness, management of task. As soon as your task is defined, then your responsibility is to build up the required skill in accomplishing it. You know what I'm saying? My son, who led the choirs, vocal for the choir this morning, is a graduate of Covenant University and is doing his master's here. Now, see, when Covenant University's vision came, great, it was a bright vision. But then, what does it take to run it? So I went after 9 world-class universities to understudy the nitty-gritties of their founding and their program development and what has sustained them over the years. And after those 9 extensive explorative studies, I propounded what I consider the philosophical foundation of Covenant University, built up its stamps and ready to fly. And I proclaim this is the new generation Harvard. And that's what it is today. Covenant University today has the #1 engineering faculty all across Africa. There are equipments there that you don't find anywhere else. Skill. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. Say with me, no spiritual substitute. You don't fly a plane by spirituality. You speak in tongues, then you enter the cockpit, and then you start the engine. You don't even know where to start. The moment you mention your name, and they ask you their questions, since you don't know how to answer, they know that a suicide bomber is there. All the London police will gather in 1 minute. And then the firefighter, everybody, the Air Force, because there's a suicide bomber in the cockpit. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. That's why many charismatics are grounded. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. No ministry, for instance, will outgrow the quality of its structure. No. No company has a future without an efficient organizational structure. And there are many, many businesses here that don't have no structure at all. They go to work in the morning, sell, buy, and spend. And spend. You spend anything, anyhow. Everything that you sell to you is spendable. Capital plus profit. And then after some time, we don't even know what happened. Satan, I bind you. Satan will be laughing. Say, I didn't come there. You are the only one. You better bind yourself and free yourself. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. I'd like you to write it down, please. Don't write any other thing if you like. But there is no spiritual substitute for skill. There is no spiritual substitute for skill. I will never approach any task in my life on common sense. No. When we are going to start Word of Faith Bible Institute, I went through 8 Bible schools, gather all their materials, study all their materials, ask those I could meet questions among them, and then from their questions I knew why they were where they were, so I would not repeat their problem. There is no substitute for what? Skill. So our Bible school began 1986 and is growing in tempo continuously. One of my sons who graduated in the Bible school in 1995 has one of the largest churches in Nigeria today. They are building a 40,000 seat auditorium right now. And took me 1 year, 3 months to build the curriculum. There is no substitute for skill, no spiritual substitute. There is no prayer substitute. There is no fasting substitute. All prayers and fasting will still require that to acquire the skill. You can pray for God to help you learn fast how to drive, but you can't pray to take the steering. Now finish praying, Lord, I take the steering. Go with me. He said, I will not go with you because you need the skill, otherwise you'll be killed. Efficient management of task. Efficient management of task. Then efficient management of material resources. Come on, say material resources. You believe in budgeting your resources, time and energy and finance. Praise God. When I'm not talking about finance alone, I'm talking about your time. There are many poor time managers. You could never find a poor time manager who imagines a leader. Great leaders are efficient managers of time. They don't only go to work, they actually work. Most people run their own businesses. They only go to work, they don't work. They have O2 and O3 that answers every second. Even when they are praying, their phones are on. And they answer the person, yes, I'm praying. And I'm not praying, yeah, I'm about to finish praying. Efficient management of material resources, which includes your time, your energy, and then your financial resources. Show me any great leader of worth is a sensitive time manager. Sensitive time manager. Is a committed energy manager. He knows where to invest his strength, and he does. He runs his life on well-defined budgets. He's not a careless spender. He has his priorities right. He invests on things that add value to him and enhances the values he adds to others. You can't be in all those things and not manage human resources at your disposal productively. You will. Because it will build up to that. That's why from Genesis 1:26, Genesis 2:8, 15, and 16, I've come out with that definition that leadership is the product of efficient management of self, task, material, and human resources. And management of self is the baseline for your leadership heritage to have expression. That's where it begins from. When you fail at self-management, you never emerge a leader in any field. Never emerge a leader in any field. I hope we are having a very good classroom experience, are we? You can see now that they don't clap in this kind of method, do they? This is no more simple equation. It's graduating to complex equations, and you have all it takes to grab it. I want you to live here and just reprogram your life, because there is more inside you than you ever can imagine. It's just to prime it so it can move into motion. You know, there is a lot inside you. There's a lot inside you. There's a lot inside you that's awaiting you, taking full responsibility to be made manifest. There's a lot inside you. Let's therefore look at what I've called leadership covenant. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 5 to 18. They said, there's an evil I've seen under the sun, as an error that proceeds from the king. I've seen fools set in high places, and the rich sit in low places. I've seen servants riding on horses, and princes walking on foot as servants. What is responsible? He that removeth stone shall be endangered. He that breaketh an edge, a serpent shall bite him. Now, that's where the word covenant comes. That means that situation arose because people have broken the edge. Now that you know you have a leadership heritage, for you not to lose your own place on your horse back, let's find out the analysis of their situation. Verse 10 says, if the iron be blunt and you don't sharpen the end, then you need to put in more strength. But wisdom is profitable to direct. Now they lost their place, one, for loss of direction. Come and say loss of direction. When your life lacks a bearing, it becomes a burden. Where there is no vision, the people perish. So the number one thing that came to light in that covenant is direction. The loss of direction will lead to frustration. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keeps to his vision, happy is he. So number one in the covenant of leadership is being able to define your vision. Having a direction for your life. Then he went on in verse 15. He said, the labor of the foolish wearies every one of them, because he knows not how to go to the city. Number two is wisdom. What is it? Wisdom. The know-how. Wisdom is the know-how. Is possessing a working knowledge of a subject matter. He knows not how to go to the city. So the second term in the leadership covenant is wisdom. The first one is vision. The second one is what? Wisdom. Now that goes on to explain the things I did earlier on. And then in verse 16, he said, woe unto thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. But blessed art thou, O land, when thy king is a son of the noble, and thy princes eat for strength and not for drunkenness. You understand what I'm saying? That talks about discipline. What is it? Discipline. Say it loud. Discipline. Say it loud. Discipline.